Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back, welcome back. Today we're going to play another episode of Kerbal Space Program. So if you remember last time, we basically just did our first flight up and down, recovered our vessel, got a little bit of science, and we were able to do a few upgrades in the research train. Now I really need to get general rocketry going on, and I'd like to get some stability as well, because there's some needed parts in there. So I think I wanted to just go ahead and try to do a full flight with a full orbit and a landing back on the surface successfully. I don't think I can. I might be able to do it with the parts that we have right now. Not exactly sure. And like I said last time, I'm really looking to get that mod that gives us a little bit more statistical detail about how our rocket will perform. But I don't have that yet, and the internet is down. So kind of just have to wait around for that. But what we're going to do right now is basically do this little thing where I want to get some more science. And so what we're going to do is put a thermometer on the side of this thing. And we're going to put a barometer on this guy. And we're going to slap on one of these mystery goo containers. I think that will suffice. And we're going to go to the crew. And we are going to put a scientist in here, Bob. And we're going to launch. And basically, you see I didn't put any engines or anything on this. This is just so we can run a few experiments on the launch pad. And I'm always forever hitting the wrong buttons there. So we log the pressure data, and we will keep the experiment. We will log the temperature, and we will keep that experiment. And we will observe the mystery goo, and we will keep that experiment. Now we will do a crew report, which I didn't do last time. And we will do an EVA. Yeah, we've already done the EVA report, so we don't really need to do that. But we're going to let go. And now he's on the ground. And he can do... Oh, I thought he was going to be able to do a surface sample. Let's run over here. Or waddle over here. Oh, he can't run. Love the animation. Oh, okay. We need to actually... I remember. We need to upgrade... one of our facilities, and I can't remember which one it is, to be able to do a surface sample, but that's okay. Excuse my sniffing. Well, I'm not actually sure what's happening right now. Okay, alright, I think I was just lagging a little bit. Alright, so we're going to recover Bob, and he actually didn't have any science on him as a person. And then we're going to recover the spacecraft, which earned us 13.7 science, which is not enough to do what we need to do. So we're going to have to... Let's do another flight. We're going to do a splashdown in the water. So we're going to change this around a little bit. Oh, and there she is. I knew she was going to want to come back inside. She hears me talking. That will be Sachi again, our resident space pup. So... BRB. Okay, we're back. Sachi's back inside. Alright. So I might explain that it's my roommate's dog, but we have kind of opposite schedules right now. And so he is asleep right now in the morning. And of course she's barking again because his alarm is going off and he's sleeping through it. But yeah, he works kind of later and I work earlier. So I kind of, hang out with her in the morning, and, he kind of hangs out with her throughout the day, and then I kind of hang out with her at night. We just kind of flip-flop. Try to keep the pup happy. Okay, enough of that. So what we're going to do here is we want to figure out what we're doing is what we want to do. We want to add a service bay on here. And service bays are super useful because you can open them, for one, and you can place... items inside. So we go back down to science, and I'm gonna throw, I can't remember exactly how this works, but we're going to put 2 thermometers because I think you can repeat some of the experiments from time to time. All right, I'm trying to remember how to rotate this correctly. There we go. Yeah, you can repeat some of the experiments. I just can't remember which ones and how effective it is, but we're going to put 2 of everything in there. All right, that looks good. Everything's nice and centered. Those things don't have a lot of weight, but you do have to pay attention to your center of mass and make sure it doesn't get too far off of the middle, because that will be difficult. Okay, so I'm going to turn those back off. Alright, so we need some propulsion. And basically I think we're just going to splash down into the water and do these experiments. So we need some fuel. Actually, you know what? We probably don't need any fuel. We could probably just fly a hammer. And it's going to be an ugly flight. But this is the first solid fuel booster. Oh, excuse me. Was the flea, and this is the hammer. It's basically just, I believe it's just, well, it's not double. It's a little bit more than double. And of course it weighs correspondingly more. But this should work. So we're going to I don't think we're going to need the fins. I think we're going to be able to steer this thing without too much trouble. So instead of the top-mounted parachute, we are going to use this side-mounted parachute, and we're going to put 2 of them on there. And I think, Saji, what do you need? Look at you just sitting there looking at me, wagging your tail. You just came in from outside. You're interrupting my broadcast, man. All right. So yeah. So yeah, I think this will be enough to hold it. You know what? we're just gonna play it safe because I want to be able to recover everything. So this is an $8,000 flight. We've got our science. We need our crew, and this time instead of Jeb, I think we're gonna do Valentina and give her her first flight. I think that's it. Oh, can't forget the staging. Engine first, parachutes later. Okay, let's do it. Another sip of coffee. Gotta love it. And yeah, so we're basically gonna just head out to the water there. So, without further ado, let's blast off. We're gonna get a little bit of altitude and try to tip it out a little bit. And you see we're getting a lot of aerodynamic drag going on here. Hopefully this is far enough out. Getting pretty hot. Yeah, see, going way too fast. So the hammer is just way too powerful for our little craft here, but that's okay. Hopefully we've gone far enough. Yeah, I think we have. So that we can land in the water. So we're just going to let that roll for a second, see what this was. Okay, we've broken a land distance record, so far enough, horizontal or laterally away from the Space Center. Speed record, another land distance record, and an altitude record. So that's cool. There will probably be more of those. And yeah, we're just going to let ourselves slow down a little bit. And we're just about to get up to our peak, I think. No, we're still going up. That's okay. Yeah, we're actually almost to the outer extent of the inner atmosphere. I think that's how that goes. I think the true, full orbit is at 70,000 meters, and that's because if you're less than that, you'll eventually start dragging, and your orbit will degenerate over time, and you will eventually burn up in the atmosphere if you don't have any protection. But we finally are about to hit the top. Okay, so one of the things about this game is that you can time warp. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Yes, I'm aware that the physics warp can cause some stability issues. So we're going to go ahead and deploy the old parachutes. Hopefully they deploy well. And hopefully I don't actually burn up going into the atmosphere. We'll see. We'll see. So we're on a little bit of a warp. Just trying to speed this up so you don't have to watch me just float through. And we're going really fast. So it would be a real bad time for our parachutes to deploy. Now we're starting to slow down because we're actually getting into thicker atmosphere and we're getting some drag. So there we go. Yep. Yeah, the weight is pulling us down. There's the drag slowing us down. But now we're speeding up again. Oh no. Oh, I don't want to lose you, Valentina. Did I plan this flight poorly? I think I did. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Are we gonna have a death on our hands in the second episode? I thought for sure that this is gonna work. Should have put a stack separator in there. Yep, this is gonna go poorly. Now I know that was loud. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, well, catastrophic failure. That is unfortunate. Unfortunate indeed. Okay, should have just been way smarter about that, but I want to say you live and you learn, but in this case it's a little bit more morbid than that. Okay, let's go back to the Space Center and see if we've got these two options. We could revert to just where the launch was, or we could go back to the vehicle assembly building. But like I said, we're not doing that. So, very sorry to Valentina and her family, and I hope they know that she died in service of my terrible planned flights. Okay, so let's go back here. Alright, we're going to get rid of the hammer. That is just unnecessary. And we're going to put a liquid fuel tank on here. And liquid fuel engines use oxidizer and liquid fuel. So we're going to put the, LVT-45 swivel on here. And yeah, we're just going to have to spend money. So this is a new part we haven't seen yet. A stack decoupler. So what this does is when I choose, I will decouple this fuel and engine from the bottom and lose them, basically not be able to recover them. But that's just in the interest of being able to survive a landing in the water. So we're going to do this completely differently than the first time, unfortunately. We can just drag. Oh, no, I can't just drag the hammer. I thought I was going to be able to grab it. But anyways, yeah, so we're going to reset our staging, move the engine down to the bottom. Okay, that should be good. If I lose Jeb on this one, I'm going to be upset. But I think that should be fine. We're just going to take this a little bit easier. Okay, now I'm nervous. I felt really good about the first one, but I do not feel good about anything right now. Okay, so in this case, we can actually throttle this engine. So I don't have to let the solid fuel burn out. I probably should have done that at first, and I'm honestly not sure what I should have done to decelerate faster. Maybe that's part of an update. Hello, Sachi. Maybe that's part of an update. Maybe I should have used those drogue chutes that actually deploy at a higher altitude but don't slow you down as much. That I'm going to have to figure out. But without further ado, let's just get this flight going. So I'm going to slow this down a lot so we're not going near as fast. And we're going to tip it out so we go out to sea. I'm super nervous, but we won't have near the same problems as we did last time. Hold on, Sachi, hold on. I'm in the middle of space flight. Okay. So we're going to cut off the engine, and I'm actually going to burn... Whoa, no I'm not. There we go. Yeah, I'm going to burn retrograde to slow down our horizontal speed. Alright. And then we will separate the stack and deploy our chutes. So that's a sunk cost, no pun intended. The engines and the fuel tanks down there, but that's okay. And we are going so slow because I did not did not anticipate the fact that we would be separating those. Didn't need all these parachutes, but that's okay. Safety first, right? So there's all sorts of different areas in Kerbal. Let's stop the time warp. So we're successfully landed. We're going to open up the service bay, and we are going to observe the mystery goo. And the goo escapes in the water, so we're going to keep that one. I'm going to observe the other one, and we'll just see how much we can get out of this. So we're just going to do all our little science experiments. Oh yeah, so there's lots of different areas. This is actually splashed down from the water. So you can also perform these experiments flying over the water and be able to get science out of that as well, which we will probably do shortly. Also didn't think this through. This is covering up the crew hatch, so I can't do an EVA, which is alright, I suppose, but I can do a crew report from the water. And that's it. Okay. So we'll recover that vessel. Thankfully, Jeb survived that nonsense. And we are 19.6 science. So we got 41. So let's go to the R&D facility and see what we've got. All right, general rocketry, sweet. And stability, we will need that. It's nice to have the aerodynamic nose cone. That helps out a little bit. It's nice to have another wing. I don't use wings very much, but I probably should. But the radial decoupler is something we'll definitely want. So there we go. All right, so we've upgraded our research a little bit. I am going to see if I can alleviate Sachi's needs and anxiety right now, and then I'll be right back. All right, we are back. We are back. So, okay, so we upgraded our research, and I think we've got. Let's look at the parts we've got here. Let's see what we added in. We added in a bigger fuel tank, which, if I'm not mistaken, and I think I'm not, there's no real difference for using, like, for example, the 200 versus the 100. They'll have the exact same weight proportionally and the exact same amount of fuel proportionally. The only difference is the discount. You see the cost is 150, and the cost over here is 275, so you're getting a 25 Kerbal square root dollar or whatever that is discount. So I'm feeling extremely gun shy right now, but let's go back through this. All right, so we've got a much larger solid fuel booster, and that'll be helpful in these beginning stages to get some really weighty things up and out of the atmosphere. We also got a new liquid fuel engine, and this one is interesting and important because it has more thrust than the one we had before, but it also does not have any gimbaling, so it's not available to change. Excuse me, it's not available to change its vector, or basically to steer. You can't steer with this engine. The other one, the swivel engine, has a mechanism where it can turn itself a little bit to make the thrust go a different direction. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, so what should we do now? I feel like I really want to get a flight up and down into the atmosphere and down through the atmosphere. I want to try that, but I'm super skittish after our fail just then. But you know what? We're just gonna go for it. I think we're just gonna go for it. All right, let's rethink this whole thing. Just put all these parts to the side. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, so we've got our command pod, which is obviously our #1 step. We're going to need the science from space. We might as well. So, this is going to be what we land in, these two parts. And since we're going to have to come in from the atmosphere, we're going to put a heat shield on the bottom of that, right? And under that, we're going to put a stack decoupler. I don't think we're going to be able to get into an orbit with this flight. I think that might be a little bit too ambitious, just because I'm super scared. So now we need something to give us fuel. So we'll do 2 of those tanks, and we will put. We're going to use the swivel engine because we're going to want to be able to vector this thing a little bit. And from there, the question is, what else to put on this thing? And I think the answer is going to be this. Okay, so I'm going to put a stack decoupler below the main engine. And the reason I'm going to do that is because we're going to attach some things to the side with our radial decoupler. And I worry that when we decouple these things, sometimes they fall down and tip in, and they will knock into the engine and blow it up. We don't want that. So I think that might be, you know, the little shield there might save us from some of that result, hopefully. And I don't think we need to use the thumper. I think that's just too much for now. So we're going to use a hammer. And we are going to put a nose cone on top of that guy to make it a little bit more aerodynamic. And we still don't have our struts. And the super useful part, it's like a little piece that you can click right here and click over here, and it puts like a bridge, a little, you know, structural support in between these two parts to kind of bind them together, so they don't wobble around so much, so all the stress isn't put on this decoupler. But yeah, that's we're not going to be able to deal with that this time, but I use them all the time on my future flights, if there are any future flights, because hopefully I'm just not going to kill all of my astronauts, my Kerbonauts. Okay, so let's put on. So what we're going to do is we're going to mirror this part, and we're going to have 2 of them. And I would like, I think, to limit the thrust on these a little bit. We're gonna put it down to 70. Yeah, 70. That sounds good. And that's just, oh, it already coupled that for me. That's good. And that's just so it's gonna burn a little slower, basically, and not give us as much thrust. But I don't think we'll need it with the 2 of them. I think we'll get plenty high up in the atmosphere. And then once we decouple those, we'll use our main engine to continue our flight. So I would like to throw on, I'm going to put a couple of wings on this guy. Just maybe for aerodynamic stability and lift. I'm not sure if they're going to be effective. I'm not sure of anything anymore. I don't even know who I am. Okay, so the nose cone doesn't fit up here, but that's okay. We are going to put the regular old parachute right there. And I suppose we're going to try to use these drogue chutes. I don't really know how to use them, but we're going to give it a shot regardless. Alright, so I don't think we need 4 of them. I think just 2 will suffice. And I want to place them, I want to hopefully be able to do an EVA. So let's do this. I suppose I want them up top. There's just no pleasing that girl. Sachi's barking. I don't know if you can tell, if you can hear her. Okay, let's see if that works. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Alright. Can we still open the bay? No problem. And yeah, okay, last step is to go take care of Sachi, and then we're gonna fly this flight, and that'll probably be it for this episode. BRB. Alright, the Sachi's been taken care of once again, and we're just gonna launch this guy and pray or hope or positive vibes or good chakras. I don't know what you do, but do some of that for me. We'll see. Oh, it already looks wobbly. Yeah, because it's sitting on that shield down there. Ooh, I don't like it. Okay. Yeah, because it's gonna take off weird, I think. Yikes, I'm scared. And I don't think I set up my my staging. Alright, I'm going to retool this and bring you guys back because I don't want to make this episode too long, but we're going to go back to the VAB and move some stuff around. Alright, we're back, and I feel slightly good about this launch. We'll see what happens. The only thing I did was I took off the stack separator on the bottom because it was just making this thing a little bit too long. And we're just going to really hope that these guys get decoupled effectively when we do. And I put these landing struts, these little micro legs that we had just unlocked, just so that the craft is sitting on the ground stably. So basically I'm going to launch, and then I'm going to toggle the gear action group, and it's going to retract those legs, hopefully just to reduce on drag. And yeah, here we go. And I took away our two radial parachutes. I've still got the drogue parachutes and the one on top, but I took away the two radial ones because I was over my part limits, and I think that this parachute and these two parachutes combined will be fine to recover these two parts. So without further ado, here we go. Talking gears, tuck them in a little bit, and we'll just see how far we can go here. Looks pretty stable so far. Our speed's a little high for how low we are. You kind of want to, you don't really want to be going over, I can't remember, it's been a while, like 300 I think, below 20,000, or is it below 12,000? I really should do some research before I make these videos. But yeah, we're getting a lot of drag, but nothing too crazy. Now we're going to decouple, sweet, and we can turn on our main engine. So we are obviously not going to make it out of the atmosphere with this guy. But we're going super fast, so I'm just going to drop that down so we save fuel. I would really like to get out in space here. I think we might be able to do it. So we're going to start, what I'm not doing is start a gravity turn. Should have started that a little while ago. And that's it, kind of, you know, the globe, the Earth, Kerbin, is rotating beneath us. And if we angle ourselves to the east, which I believe this direction is, we kind of increase our orbital speed because the Earth is turning under us, kind of behind us, if that makes any sense at all. Yeah, and sorry, I'm just real worried, so I'm not talking. Alright, so we're out of fuel, and that's it for this part, so we can couple that stage. So once we hit 70, let's take a look around. We are out in space, and I'm not sure what that green line is. I guess that's where you are directly over, I suppose. I don't know, I've never seen that green line before. I feel like it's, well, we'll see. But if you look, our apoapsis is 158 kilometers, and that's really high. So we could have started our gravity turn to push that orbit out and widen that parabola that you see and turn it into a full ellipse, which would go around the globe, and that's how we get an orbit. We'll do that another time. We've got plenty of time until we hit that, and we've got plenty of time until we re-enter the atmosphere. So I'm still uncertain what that green line is all about. I mean, I get it, that's where I launched from, but I don't really understand. Yeah, I don't really understand it. Okay, so regardless of that, let's go ahead and do a crew report in space near Kerbin, and we are going to do an EVA. Oh, we can't do an EVA. We need an upgrade to one of our facilities. No matter. Alright, let's open up the service bay. Observe the goo. Cool. I feel like that's not near as much science as it used to be. Alright, log the temp. Log the temp. Log the pressure. The instrument reads 0, as if it were in a vacuum. Well, thanks. Okay, close that back up. See, we've got our heat shield here. And yeah, so what to do? We're basically just going to wait to fall back down. We're going to get to our highest. No, there's just no helping that girl. So we've reached space, we've broken an altitude record, we splashed in the ocean, and we broke a land distance record. Yeah, we splashed in the ocean. I wouldn't call that a milestone. That was a tragic, unfortunate event. Alright, so basically I'm going to speed this up a little bit, just because we're just going to start falling back down, and once we get into the atmosphere, I'll bring it back. Alright, here we go. Just hitting back inside the 70,000 mark, and what we want to do is we want to keep our spacecraft pointed towards retrograde, which that just means prograde would be pointed in the direction you're heading. Retrograde is pointed in the direction away from the direction you're heading, and that'll keep our heat shield right there on the bottom. So what we can do is we can just watch this heat shield, and this 200 out of 200 will degrade over time. And we're going way too fast. Because it was such a shallow angle that we came in, or a dead-on angle. Alright, so hopefully I'll be able to deploy these drogues here. Yep. Okay, that'll slow me down, and now I can deploy safely the main parachute. And it won't fully deploy until 1,000 meters, but that way we know we're safe. I think. We'll see. Speed it up just a little bit. Should be good. So right at 1,000. Oh, the drogues actually have a secondary expansion. I have no words today. I'm still reeling from the loss of Valentina, guys. Very sorry about that. What a letdown. But I think Jeb will survive this one. There we go. Yeah, and as long as we're around 6 or 7, I think the service bay can survive that. But we will find out. Just gonna go ahead and speed it up. Very agonizingly so. This happens a lot, at least in my experience. It's just like you're just waiting to land. Get down to almost there, and I'm gonna slow it back down to regular speed, just so there's no confusion. Alright, everything survived. And you know what? There's one other thing I could have done. I could have jettisoned the heat shield, and that would have saved us on a little bit of weight, and we would have gone a little bit slower if I was really worried about it. Okay, so we're landed. We're going to recover. Sachi's going to continue to bark. All is well in the universe. And we earned 65 science from that one, and I think that will be we're going to use that next time. We'll do some new research, and we'll try to do a few more things next time. So that's it for today. Big day, tragic day. We had some success, and we had one great failure. So Kerbal Count is now at 1. I was hoping I would be able to keep it at 0 for a little bit longer than 2 episodes, but our death count is now 1. And I'm going to keep it there with all my might for as long as possible. And I'm also going to do something about this dog. Alright. Well, thanks for watching, guys. If you liked it, like it. If you want to see more of it, subscribe to it. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.